I was just doing some work on this beautiful gelding, and I was getting some really good results. I'm using a selenite wand and some rose quartz, and I've already canceled out all the negative energy in his body. Every time he has a traumatic event with a human or anything that causes scar tissue on him, it leaves an energetic negative emotion attached to that. And so when that scar tissue is triggered, then what happens is he has a negative emotion. So what I did is I went through with selenite and got rid of all the negative emotion. And then I'm going through with rose quartz, and I'm helping him release that scar tissue. He was having some good feedback from him, so I thought I'd go ahead and record this because I thought this was really cool. I don't know what's going to happen because I've already done a little bit. He tells me with his body where there's too much soreness and I have to start backing off of pressure. Come here. I want your head relaxed. I don't have any treats for you yet. We do a lot of stretching, and so he's getting used to treats. Oh, that feels so much better. We've still got a little bit of a knot right here we're working through. Mr. Kitty wants to be in the video, I guess. There we go. This is perfect. His head's down. I'm using that and pushing him through there. Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Kitty. I love how Spirit infuses everything perfectly to work wonders. Wonderful. Wonderful. I was getting releases like this when I was doing the selenite over his body. Just releasing the negative charged energy. I guess my crystal needed to be grounded. Huh? It's not a treat. It's a rose quartz, honey. Don't put it in your mouth. You'll break your tooth and it will break my crystal. Oh, that feels so much better. Still got one. There was two. There was one. Yeah, there's one up here. There's still a little bit of it right there. So the licking and chewing is endorphin releases, which tells me that I'm doing a good job. The yawning, the licking and chewing, that kind of stuff, all releases endorphins. See, I'm just going to droop down towards me right there. I'm drawing all of that. Ooh, look at him. He's like, hello. I'm drawing all of that energy from right there. I drew it all the way down here. Oh, he's like, oh, yeah, take it away. So I guess you could call it like energy work on horses. Horses have chakra systems just like we do. So when you can get everything working as it should, crystals work just as well on horses as they do on people. This would be kind of like a myofascial release that I'm doing with him right here. Good boy. See, he's like, okay, that's a little much right there. A little bit back off. And the crow says, yes, it is. See? Now I got the good response. See, the thing is, when you're working with nature, and you're working with spirit, which I mean my higher self, which means God. Everybody's higher self is God, because you're up with God, and you are God. So when you're working with your higher self, all things are possible. So if you're open to all things, like a crow cawing at that moment, when we needed verification that we were on the right track, there was. Okay, right there's another little tender spot. Toss that away. You got a fly on you. I'm also doing a Best Vet microcurrent on him. Oh, I like how his muscles starting to kind of pop already. He had a lot of muscle atrophy. I've been working on him now for a couple weeks. He's an older gelding. He's, I think, 16 this year, and he's had a very eventful life. I'll just say that. Yes. He says, you guys thought I was retired. I'm coming back. So the intention that I'm using also with the stone is anything else that is stored negative energy, I'm using rose quartz to be able to assimilate the energy as a positive energy. Because what we do with him, since he was considered blown up and retired, because, you know, not sure what to do with him, then also we have to fix the mind. You can fix the body, but the mind's still going to think it hurts. The mind's still going to think it hurts. So when the mind still thinks it hurts, it's going to keep doing the same things that's going to create what made it sore in the first place. So what you need to do is correct the body. That's way better. Correct the body and then correct the mind. Otherwise, you're going to have the same things happen over and over. He's going to help me right here by stretching that neck out. That was beautiful. Spirit works in many, many ways. And when you work with spirit like I do, be open to all things. There. Oh, there you go. There, feeling, oh, there, I felt a snap right there. Good. That was a scar tissue release right there. That's what I was looking for. By the time I get done, his neck was really thin and a lot of atrophy on it because of he had tie downs and headgear on him to make him keep his head down. And when a horse braces against something like that, when they're making a full-on run, you atrophy their neck, and then you create skeletal issues. There. Oh, he says that felt good. See him push into that? That was good. I'm going to use that right there. He's got that neck stretched out and that head cocked. That was a perfect time for me right there to get up there and stretch that. Because what I'm going to look to doing is, right there's another good one, is once I get the scar tissue broke up, that it will do a full release and it will reset his neck. Because even with a chiropractor, even if you were to get it in, it wouldn't last. I know. Okay, we'll give it a break. He says, give it a break, Mom. And these muscles right along the neck here, too, take a lot of abuse. And when I'm talking abuse, I'm talking energy. And when you feel a certain way, and it stimulates a wreck. That negative emotion, whoo, I could feel negative energy, both. Wow. I could feel it vibrating on this thumb, clear to this thumb. So there was something that happened right here that I was able to pull that negative energy completely out. I know. That'll feel a lot different. Horses store energy, just like people do. And they store it in their body and in their muscles and on their skeletal systems and wherever else. With that trapped lymphatic fluid. Goes. I just grabbed this piece of rose quartz from my, it's just a rough piece of rose quartz. It's kind of got some sharp edges, but it's got flat edges too. Just to see how he would react to the rose quartz, because he loved the selenite wand that I used on him yesterday. It released so much negative. In fact, when I released some more negative energy up through here, it made me want to cry, because he had a lot of negative energy stored up right in through this neck area. And you can get up here at the top of this pole. There's a lot of scar tissue up here where they have the bridles and the halters all the time. And then, of course, if they pull back and they whack their head, hit them in the trailer, they have just a big bubble of scar tissue right up here behind their ear. All of them do. Anytime you put a halter on, you're stopping the flow of energy in that area, and that's creating scar tissue. That's why it's really good to give your horse a really good scrubby massage with your hand after you take a saddle off, where the saddle was and the cinch was, and get that energy stimulated again. Otherwise, it stagnifies the energy and creates scar tissue on that horse's back. So he's letting me, which is really nice. He had amazing, oh my gosh, right here in the I should bring it over here closer so you can actually see. Wanted to make sure I got the whole thing in here. He's kind of standing still, so that works. But right here in the jawline here, right here, there was so much scar tissue. It was like it was bubbled out. It looked like almost like it wasn't the jowl, but it was up here in the crease. It was just a big knot of it. Huge. It was like the size of my fist. It literally stuck out. And I've almost got it to where I can, like, you can take your finger and run it down. You can almost feel the upper part of his jaw. I'm going to work some right here. It's a little more tender right here, around this jawline. So you have to be a little, if it blows over, I'll have to stand it back up. It's Texas. Oh, almost lost you. What are we doing? Oh, he's stretching. Oh my gosh. We got cameras moving, horses doing dancing. What do we got going on over here? Whew. All right. That was cute. Now I got this camera sideways. Oh. Hey, you know what? We do what we can do. He obviously feels pretty darn good, right? Okay, so let's work on this spot again. Oh, that's too funny. All right. All right, there he felt a little bit of a release. You guys can see it better now anyway, right? Oh, right there. Oh, and I'm actually using the point of the rose quartz, which means I'm getting in there kind of deep. So around his jawline, there's a ton of scar tissue, and this is typical of all horses. He even nodded his head yes. He loves the energy of this. So I'm sending him my energy through the quartz, and then also adding the energy of the rose quartz to what I'm doing to him. Also, these get really sore from chomping at the bit and eating all the time. He wants to fall asleep. He's like, wow, this feels good. I'm doing the microcurrent on him also, on his spine, to relieve any inflammation in the spine, because he still has a little inflammation in the spine. But it's getting less and less the more we take out the scar tissue. Oh, there's a good release. It's amazing, this simple little rough piece of rose quartz is the absolute perfect tool. There you go, there's a release. Also underneath their jaw. These are really good. I usually do this without the halter, but I'm out here trying to make a video and show you guys. A lot of negative energy here underneath the jaw. Him being pinned down to where he can't do nothing and being made and forced to do what he doesn't want to do. And then, of course, the energy of the rider, their energy, goes into making the trauma that's here behind the jaw. So there's a lot of negative energy. So right here I'm using rose quartz to be able to soften that energy and change that from negative to positive. That way when he goes to competing again, he'll have a whole new outlook on everything, because he doesn't have that trauma screaming all over his body. It works the same as people. He's got a couple chunks of scar tissue back underneath his jaw. I'm releasing the scar tissue underneath the jaw, so he's a little bit like, oh, okay, that kind of smarts a little bit. He's just got tons of scar tissue underneath the jaw, but that's kind of typical of most horses. A lot of under jaw trauma, and that causes a lot of issues. Hard to think that, just jaw trauma would cause issues and lameness, but anywhere the body is off balance, it's going to pull the horse off balance, and then the horse can only do so much. And then when the horse has too much scar tissue, the horse just breaks down. And of course, the scar tissue screams pain. So you put a horse in a high-stress environment like an arena for competition, screaming pain all over his body, and then you add excitement to it. This is why most horses don't want to go into the arena. pretty good through there. His back was super, super, super tight. I've been working on him, I think, 2 weeks now. I've been doing scar tissue release all along his spine every day. And it's starting to kind of loosen up a little bit now where when I rode him yesterday, it was truly interesting what happened. I was doing his stretches with the carrots and had him stretch between his legs to grab the carrot, and he stretched so far and he tried so hard that I heard a kapop, and it was a deep one too. I thought, well, that was like a chiropractor adjustment right there. And then I rode him that afternoon, that evening, and it was the first time he rode around without wringing his tail and pushing on the bit and getting upset. It was the first time that he'd constantly kind of have a tail ringing a little bit, you know, especially if you're loping around a barrel, you know, just doing practice stuff. Part of it was irritation, part of it was attitude, and part of it was pain. You know, he's tired of speaking the same thing and not getting any results. He's telling the owners what he's feeling, but nobody can understand him. This where getting to know your horse is very important. Can you still see me? Yeah. Because if something pops up on your horse that's not normal, or he acts a little different, you can spot certain things. I've spotted colic and been able to save horses from colic just by knowing the horses and how they normally respond, and always doing a once-over on them every time I'm even in the vicinity of them. But I noticed yesterday was the first time that he was able to get into a collected lope without getting strung out. It was so nice. So he's had something out. It was deep. Deep, 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 deep. But I have a feeling that is going to reset everything in his body. Because that was a big one. So now I got all the negative energy out of it with the selenite earlier before I grabbed the camera, and I was like, I just grabbed the camera. And so now I'm just using that rose quartz. You had a couple spots over here that are getting better too. You can't really even see it anymore, but there's still, I can feel it. It doesn't feel like the rest of the muscle. It's right there. I got a huge one out on both sides of here. But what I'm feeling, because I'm super intuitive and I'm always hooked up to spirit, that's how I can get this stuff done on these horses, because I know what to hit and how to hit it. You can use any kind of therapy you want, and it's never going to be anything like how a horse will respond to just really good, clean energy and crystals. This is how we healed in the ancient times, was through crystals, nothing else. Crystals and our power of intention. It's also a really good idea to take your horse and ground their energy from tip to tip and hoof to hoof, because they get so upward and trying to escape everything that's on them, like where he's had a tie down and headgear on and all kinds of things to get him to keep his head down, so much so his nose is indented. But that all leaves every emotion that horse is feeling and every emotion that rider is feeling at that time that trauma was put onto that horse is still etched in the energy on the scar until it is released. Same with any animal. That's why you see so many traumatized dogs. Dogs are a little bit more, I mean, all animals are sensitive, don't get me wrong. But a dog is kind of like, when a dog's spirit has been broken, it's hard to bring them back from that. And being able to be in touch with his body and be in touch with spirit at the same time, to understand how his body is reacting right now to what I'm doing. It's like clearing out negative energy and making the muscle brand new again. And then infusing that muscle with the energy of the rose quartz. And also here at the top of the tail head, the muscle, that's another one here that gets real stressed out. If you can loosen up that tail head area, I've already worked on one spot on his, I worked on one hip yesterday. I'm going to work on his right hip today. But he had like a point of the hip really up here, and that was just enlarged scar tissue. And I got one side done, and actually it went down nice. It actually looks like a nice hip on the other side. So now I just need to get down the other side. So this horse wants to try, but literally can't because of how locked his body is. He's like, wow, I feel good. He's like, wow. And so by doing this on this hip right there, he actually makes it perfect. So I can get in there and just work that tail head and really get all that energy out of it and flow it with brand new energy right there. So he's actually doing exactly what he needs to do. There, now he's going to relax it. Oh, beautiful. So now he relaxed that whole side. Oh, beautiful. There's a lot of negative energy coming out of there. If I didn't know him any better, I wouldn't stand right here. But he is very good, because I'm in communication with him. He's very good about communicating with me. And that was a communication of, it feels good, but I can only tolerate so much. Hey, kind of somebody over here itching their butt. All right, that was good right there. That was a beautiful release right there. And And then another area too would be back here where a person would ride their spurs. And then the girth area. There's a lot of trauma in that girth area. A lot of scar tissue in that girth area. He's like, oh, are we getting cookies yet? Are we stretching? I've been working on it. Getting that scar tissue to release in through here. I can just feel that negative energy coming through. Oof. All the days that he doesn't want to work, and all the days the owners don't really want to work, and all that negative energy goes into all these scars. And then people wonder why they get cinchy. Some horses are just too sensitive. You could use, when you're all done, you could rub him all over with black obsidian and really ground his energy. There. Good job. Now, where he is a retired barrow horse, he has hit a few barrels in his day. So we have a lot of shoulder trauma right in through here. Yeah, it's going to make him a little uncomfortable if I get too deep right in through here. So how much he has. Scar tissue hurts. Just like with people. If you have scar tissue and you push it to the max and you irritate that scar tissue, you cause pain. There's a ton right there, that point of that shoulder. There, it just broke. Nice. So I just broke that scar tissue that was there at that point of that shoulder. There, it really loosened up that muscle so much. It makes it from like hard, rigid muscle to just baby soft muscle. Nice, boy. Whew. Wow, just like a young horse. Beautiful. Now, if you can figure out, that's why I like to be in touch with spirit when I do this, because then I can find the scar tissue and release instead of having to take forever. Right there. Anytime you find scar tissue in the shoulders, it's restricting their movement, and their whole being able to get up underneath of themselves has everything to do if they can lift them shoulders up. And if their shoulders are stuck because of scar tissue or jammed or out or whatever, then they can't get up underneath of them to make that turn or to even run fast because they're bound up, which will make them kind of want to climb and do all the other things because they can't run flat because it hurts. I guess he approves of the rose quartz. I guess that's spirit saying yes, he approves. You noticed that the bird came in and didn't really stop doing that until after I noticed that it was spirit. It's funny. There, I felt it pop. There's that release I wanted. And it'll be up here in this point of the shoulder, which is perfect. I love this little crystal. It's the perfect little tool. Good job. I think I'll go ahead and stop the video. I'm going to change it over here to the other side anyway. So that was just a little quick demonstration of kind of what I'm doing with this guy, is just releasing scar tissue, releasing emotional trauma, releasing physical trauma, mental trauma, and see if we can get him to be a using horse again. and a happy one, because if we have a happy using horse, then everybody's happy. A lot of trauma in through here too. This would be another one for this little stone. Oh yeah, right in through here. Whew. He's had I don't know how many owners, but I know that they've used a head bond on him to tie his head down, and a tie down too. So he's got a lot of scar tissue right here built up. So this is taking out, I've already taken out all the negative energy. Now I'm just working it with that rose quartz. I couldn't even, when I first got him, I just barely, his right ear was enlarged down here. It had some fluid in there. And this jaw right here was completely enlarged with scar tissue. I released that, the ear went down, but when I went to touch it before it went down, it was really painful for him. And now I can touch that and rub that crystal all over that right now. I couldn't do that before. It was too painful. So as soon as I released the scar tissue jaw trauma on this side, then that went down. But that's a really good one for that. This is really, and this is just a piece of rose quartz. I just grabbed it. It's just a chunk of rose quartz that I work with sometimes. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, give me a thumbs up and a like and share. Everybody needs to know about animals. Animals have chakras just like we do. They have energy, and the more that we can get back to nature and start using things like energy and crystals and stuff like that for these animals, we can get them back to feeling better and competing longer and competing better. The better they feel, the quicker their times. God bless.